Hi, my name is Cecilia Fox, and that is another episode of Art Sandwich in which I talk about my artistic practice while eating dinner. Today for dinner I'm having chocolate because I still can't cook. And first of all, in general, how was my artistic practice this week? I think at first I felt still very chaotic and still recovered from the stress from the last week. Because first of all, I think I lost my bike because I just don't remember where I parked it, which is really absurd. Second of all, I have written apology letters for my mental health, and then also I was just not able to figure out how to load my microphones that I'm using for interviewing, so I just bought the new ones, because that is really the reason why I need a boyfriend, to just figure out some basic stuff that I'm feel really confused about, because I literally spent 3 days trying to load my microphones, and after I had bought new ones, then I realized that I just didn't that they were already full, but that I just didn't connect it to their phone, so that's why I thought that they don't working. So yeah, I felt really stupid about it. But I think by end of the week I also have felt some new energy, and I'm just really excited that it's summer finally. And yeah, so for today, the main thing that I want to talk about is also that earlier today I was posting my open call for the reality dating show called a Divorced and Desperate. And I just want to talk a little bit about how I got the idea and what I'm hoping from this project, just to get a more insights about it. And I think yeah, so first how did I got this idea? I kind of have three things what I want to talk about. First of all, I so first of all, I'm seeing it as kind of a comedic outlet for me, because I really wanna hopefully in autumn I also still wanna do some more stand-up comedy, but I think I also wanna find a more comedic outlets for myself that are not necessarily stand-up, because for me I feel that there is so much overlap between a reality TV show and a stand-up comedy, because both of them, they look extremely effortless and chill and spontaneous, but actually they're highly staged. So I really think that also, so I really want to use this so it's kind of an interview series that uses aesthetics of a reality show. So it's really also, while editing and while doing, it's really about also kind of creating the same level of a reaction and build up and dropping. And so I think that is something that really fascinates me about this project. Yeah. Then second of all, I think around I think it's also really about kind of taking a shameless ownership about I think around half year ago I realized how empowering it is to take a shameless ownership about something. I think since half year I really became more open about my mental health things, and really treated it with differently, because I feel sometimes when we feel ashamed of something, then you just hide it away. With my mental health, for years I have tried to or act normal, fit in, really desperately try to be really normal person, and always felt really ashamed of things. I would hide for years, for months, really, if I would feel a bit that my mental health got bad, then I would just isolate. And I think at some point I really realized to just kind of embrace it and take it as a part of myself. And yeah, so I think the same way, okay, I got a bit off the track talking about my mental health, because actually I wanted to talk about my divorce, and I no, and also it's about kind of a self irony, and how empowering it is, because for me I really got divorced 4 months ago, and I think it is something that I feel really deeply ashamed of. Today I was in like a playground with my daughter, and I lied that I'm still married because I just felt too embarrassed to say that I'm divorced. Because like when you say somebody that you're divorced, they're like, oh my god, how sad. Like they start to treat you like with like such a like pitiful way, and I feel like it's just like so absurd. So like if you like say like, so that's why like I'm really wanna like create like a spectacular out of my divorce, and like kind of make fun of it, like just because I just find it really like empowering. Actually, like I feel, no, I think it's just very like empowering to like promote myself as like a divorced and desperate. And honestly, like I don't even know if I'm as desperate that I look. I don't know. And yeah, like third of all, also like I'm kind of seeing it as like a tool for like artistic research, like to have like these conversations and these interactions. Because I think like also since like having divorced, like I had this idea that I want to create like a music album called Divorce is the Deepest Form of Love. And for me, like I think this, it sounds a bit like sarcastic or like, oh, like I'm glad it's over, but I really mean it in a very like deep and meaningful way, because I really think that sometimes it is like the most loving thing to do is kind of set other person free and let them find the happiness in somewhere different. And I think like I'm also like really like in summer I also wanna like start actively working on this like music album, because like right now I kind of have like a structure of like what I want like each of the songs to be about, but now I really want to start like writing these lyrics. And one of the songs there is also like kind of wanting to have like a 12 boyfriends, because I think like lately I also started feeling that like, okay, I don't know, okay, I don't know how to talk about it. Okay, I still want to be like in a closet, but like I think for the last 1.5 years I also have like quite a lot like read about like polyamory and like followed people who are polyamorous like online. And I think I'm very like agreeing with their views of the life that they have, and I still want to be in closet, but I think okay, I don't know, am I in closet? I think I'm in closet, but no, I don't know, I'm in closet, but I think, so I think also yeah, so I think like for me like working on this album I also like really like um just thinking a lot about these topics around like monogamy, love and sexuality and what it means to be a woman. And I'm really like reading a lot of stuff, and I think that's why I also want to like kind of, I would like to also have conversation with people who have maybe some kind of like a like unconventional views on love or experiences for love. Like I would be really open for like people who have never been in relationship, or people who have been like married 7 times. And I think because I am so busy on my head like really like thinking like what monogamy is and all these different things, like I sometimes really feel like that monogamy is like very toxic. Because like in one of the like jokes I made like on my stand up, I made like, oh, how unrealistic it is to expect that one person can fill all your holes, and like, oh, it was so sexual joke and ha ha ha. But I also really like feel that way in a very like deep level, because like I feel like when you are like monogamous, like you expect that this one person you have like a deep spiritual connection and intellectual connection, and that they look nice enough to present your like parents, or like that there is like a sexual connection and that there's like a romantic connection, and it just puts like so much pressure in a like a one person. So in that way like I really think that like you could like love could be easy, and you could like connect with different people for different reasons. And like I could be in love with somebody just because of the color of their t-shirt. Like I wanna like explore this kind of things. Like I think that you can like value and appreciate people for very different reasons, and I think that is also kind of like part of my like artistic research in a way. And yeah, I'm just like hoping to have like a really like interesting conversations and like interactions, and kind of like change my perspective about like a love. or not maybe change, but just be challenging my perspective about love. I'm also really seeing it a lot as like a collaboration. So the process of this like reality show is that first of all, like the people fill in the like application form, and through filling it in they already kind of like set the tone, or they like I'm also learning some new things about them. And then we hopefully have like a phone call, like, or like a video phone call, like for like I don't know 10 minutes or for an hour, to just like discuss, like okay, just discuss the details, that we would both feel like comfortable with it, that we could also maybe use their input or their expertise in some levels, and that we really like plan out like how we do things, just that we both feel like comfortable with it. And then like in a third phase, like there is like a day of like filming, that I will prepare like based on like a conversations and like the application, I'm gonna like prepare like a date for them, that I'm like invite them on, and then like we see like where it goes. And I am really like excited about it, and I really I don't know, like I'm also a bit scared, and I'm like really open that this whole project fails, but I'm also really excited and invested in it. So yeah, I really hope that you are interested of my like reality TV show, and if you know somebody who would be fitting, like you can always like forward the application form for them. And yeah, so I hope you wanna stay updated about it. So also today, okay, so let's move on to the inspiration of the week. And yeah, so I think this week I really have I don't know, I really have thought a lot about also like kind of like the vulnerabilities of like becoming an artist and like putting yourself out there, because I think for me also like I have been like more active on Instagram for like 2 months, and I think this whole process is like very vulnerable and very like challenging for me, because like right now like I have less than 100 followers, and I feel like every time that I post something, I feel like that I'm throwing things into the black hole, because like I don't get much reactions yet, and then sometimes I'm really like have a lot of anxiety like about like okay, and I know like it's also not healthy place to be, like to have like anxiety about what other people think, but I think like it is kind of part of this like artistic process, because for me like also when I get like when I make like some like Instagram post that is more like controversial or more like shocking, then I sometimes like lose like followers. And for me like I'm like so like conscious about it, so sometimes I'm also like just spending like 10 minutes of like looking through my followers to like understand who I lost, because like I really like for me like I would prefer to get like a hate comments, or like somebody would write me a letter how much they hate me, but I think like losing a follower for me like feels very like vulnerable, because like it feels almost like I feel scared, like because my intentions is never to like offend somebody. Like I think my intentions is to like open up conversation, but if somebody like gets like a reaction to like unfollow, then it is like the end of the conversation in a way. And I think that's why I feel like oh my god, like did I like upsetted or offended somebody, and I feel like bad about it. So I think that's is something that makes me feel very vulnerable. Just like also and I'm also like kind of like a process of like figuring things out, and I think like a lot of things are not in that level that I would want them to be, and I'm really like finding kind of my structure and like how to do things. So it's also just like it is like very vulnerable place. I think for like years I have just like avoided like doing any art, just because I was like so scared of like failing. And I think now I'm putting myself out there, but it's also pretty vulnerable. So this week's like inspiration of the week is like one Instagram account called inspiredtowrite, because she's really like somebody who, okay, this light I don't like, it's somebody who really okay, yeah, that is also not smart, but it's really somebody who talks a lot about the difficulties, or not difficulties, but just really openly shares about the artistic process and the struggles of it. Like I think it's really about like a lot about like creativity, and I think also my intentions with my like artist enough series is also just to have like more openness about like creativity and like the struggles of it. and and yeah, there is just so many, like it gives a lot of comfort. And she also has like a podcast called the Unpublished Podcast, and I think it's just really like there is just more comfort needed for this. There is just really more comfort needed for the artistic practice and artistic journey, like that I think also like okay wait, oftentimes I also see like a lot of things like black and white, and I think she also has like a one like post about like a nuance and like a complexity of like things. And then she has like 6 stories creatives are told that need nuance. I'm either professional or an amateur. I'm making, so the nuance of it is, if I'm making art, I'm an artist. The binary artists are either multimillionaires or starving. The nuance, many creatives make good and stable incomes. I either make good or bad art. Everything I make is an important part of my journey. I either make art for myself or I make art for the audience. I am able to make art that delights both me and my audience. I'm either motivated to create or I'm blocked. Creative energy ebbs and flows, it's complex and always varying. I will either have a big break or will be a failure. Success accumulates through tiny little wins paired with a plethora of failures. And it's just like, okay, it's like fully simple things, but I think it's like really just comforting to like understand it. Like just, so I'm really also recommending her content for people who struggle with making art, or just struggle in their like artistic process and the vulnerabilities, because I also feel very vulnerable about my artistic practice lately. I feel pretty vulnerable of like putting myself out there, and I think it's really complicated. um, so to close up this episode, like um, yeah, so this week's like mantra is like also inspired by the things that I talked about, but this week's mantra is, I take shameless ownership for my art and I believe its ability to save the world. I take shameless ownership for my art and I believe its ability to save the world. I take shameless ownership for my art and I believe its ability to save the world. So just repeat after me, and this is how you become artist. Thank you so much for watching another episode of Art Sandwich. I hope you enjoyed it, and please subscribe to my channel to give you up, and please subscribe to my channel to for the new episodes and having updates about Divorced and Desperate. Thank you so much for watching my video, and I hope to see you soon.